kids band together to buy into this need to go to the right school, to get the right test scores, to get the right grades. And I'm not against achievement. I mean, I teach at Harvard. I love the kids that I see there, and I work hard myself, and I like other people who work hard, but we've kind of gone over the edge. And one of the places we've gone over the edge is in the amount of homework that gets assigned. Again, if you look at the statistics, homework in elementary school, for example, has doubled in volume since the 1980s when they first started collecting these data. And the question you have to ask is why? What's the purpose for this? Because many schools, I was working in schools in the mid-'80s when this first really started to take hold, and we were like in an arms race with each other. We'd assign an hour per night of homework, and then the school down the road would go up to an hour and a half, and we'd go up to 2 hours a night because we said, well, that's better education. The more, the better. And one of the reasons it happened is that there was a book that came out in the mid-'80s called A Nation at Risk. And it said that, the United States is no longer preeminent among the nations of the world. You know that book? And, that there's this rising tide of mediocrity. Our test scores are lower than the scores of people in other countries. Truthfully, that's not because our children in schools like this are doing poorly. It's that our urban schools are in really bad shape, and that's what brings our averages down. But as a nation, we became concerned. In the mid-'80s, the Japanese were economically dominant, and Toyotas were selling much better than Fords and Chevys, and we were worried, and we often looked to the schools to solve our societal problems. And there was a kind of an agreement among policymakers that we needed to raise standards, and that became assigning more homework. Is there any relationship between the amount of homework a child is assigned and how smart they are? How well they achieve? Very little. I mean, the best study that I've ever seen shows a correlation of 0.1, which is essentially 0. I mean, there's almost no relationship. Yet we still labor under the assumption that more is better. So if there isn't a strong relationship, is there also a downside? And there is. I mean, the first problem that I see, and this is astounding when you look at the statistics, that kids cheat so much more than they ever did. 90% of the top high school seniors in America say that they cheated to help them get to the top. We're seeing cheating in middle school, elementary school. I would remember my daughter was in 5th grade telling me, Connor was cheating on the Spanish test again. I'm thinking, 5th grade? Really? Why does he feel that much pressure? And when you talk to kids, they'll say, we know cheating is wrong, but there's too much pressure. This is the only thing that we hear from our parents and our teachers. You got to get ahead. You have to get the right grades. And if they don't cheat, we'll cheat for them. Oh, don't look so innocent. What happens when it's Native American night and your child is supposed to build a papier-mâché village and show it off at school? I always felt very fortunate in this regard because having absolutely no artistic ability whatsoever, barely being able to write my name legibly, when I did the work for my kids, it actually looked like they had done the work. So I didn't feel so bad. But I'd come to Native American night, and on the first table was this beautiful Pueblo village that looked like the parents had hired IMPay to come in and put it together for them. And my children were looking like they were developmentally disabled. And I didn't like that. So I'm thinking, well, I'm going to call Pay's office in the morning and get him so my younger daughter can have that in 2 years. We feel so much competition. And that other parents are doing it. It makes it very difficult not to do it. Plus, if your child is tired and they have a little more work to do, a lot of times we step in and, help out in ways that are probably inappropriate. Now, it is kind of nice, unless some of you have math or science backgrounds that would actually allow you to help your children. By the time children get into 7th or 8th grade, there's usually not that much we can do for them except maybe proofread their papers. So that's a benefit. But the cheating is really kind of out of control. And I don't condone cheating at all. I think schools need to take cheating very seriously. But I also can understand the student's dilemma. I have so much work, I can't get it done. What am I going to do? I mean, copying homework from another child that's a regular practice for so many kids. Again, I don't know about school here. There are schools where it doesn't happen that much, but in most of the schools that I visit, it's a fairly significant problem. And if they don't cheat on their homework, they're going to cheat on sleep.